The topic chosen is the Irish beef industry. I will first give a brief overview about the Irish beef industry and discuss what we have analyzed about the industry using Pestle and Porter's five forces, and I will also mention interesting findings about McDonald's role with the Irish beef industry. Beef production is Ireland's greatest farming strength, and it is the biggest category within the meat sector, with a beef production of almost 520,000 tons. Ireland is the fifth largest beef exporter in the world and in Europe. Its main destination was the UK, and there are approximately 139,860 family farms in Ireland. What is a pestle analysis? Pestle is an analytical tool which considers outside factors and their impacts on a particular location, business, or organization. Political. This looks at how and to what degree the government intervenes in the company. This can include government policy, political stability or instability in overseas markets, and so on. Economical. Economic factors have a significant impact on how an organization does business and also how profitable they are. Factors include economic growth, interest rates, exchange rates, and more. Social factors are the areas that involve the shared belief and attitudes of the population. These factors are of massive interest as they have a direct effect on how marketers understand customers. Examples such as population growth or age distribution. Technological. The technological field is constantly improving and being changed, which impacts on how our products are marketed. For example, new ways of producing goods, new ways of delivering goods, new communication methods. Environmental involves the business looking at factors that affect the environment. Legal. It's obvious that companies need to know what's legal and what's not, so they can trade successfully. Legal factors include health and safety, equal opportunities, advertising standards, and so on. Political and economical. Political. The beef industry is highly affected by political factors as the government intervenes with the economy, where the industry has no control of. With Ireland being a member of the EU, this gives them free trade to the EU without any tariffs, which helps by allowing Ireland to export beef relatively cheaply. However, it damages the industry as it allows Irish businesses to buy cheaper beef from other EU countries. As for the economical factors, if we go through a period economic growth from one year to another and the economy is strong, this is good for the industry. It means more people will have jobs and will be getting good wages, which will leave them a high disposable income. Exchange rates also affect the industry. If businesses are exporting or importing beef from countries with a different currency. As for inflation, if inflation is happening throughout the country, this means the beef industry will be affected and prices will start to increase. Social and technological. How should meat be slaughtered? The company has to know cultural considerations of its people, which are influenced by their religion. For example, for Muslims, an animal has to be slaughtered by their fellow Muslims. Technological. Irish farms use genomics, which helped improve 50% genetic gain in cattle breeding. The beef data and genomic scheme is a potential technology that could have a major impact on Irish farms. Over 1 million beef cattle will be genotyped on an annual basis, making it one of the largest genetic testing programmers in the world. Also, farmers use their phone nowadays to take measurements of their grass. Legal and environmental. When it comes to the production of beef in Ireland, the following are not allowed to be used, such as urinary organs, eyes and eyelids, and etc. The beef labeling regulations apply to beef that is fresh, frozen, and minced. This regulation means that information about the beef must be displayed on individual pieces of beef or on its packaging. As for the environmental, the Irish beef industry is much kinder to the environment than a lot of countries in Europe. Out of the beef industries in Europe, the Irish beef industry produces the fifth lowest amount of greenhouse gases. Between the years 2003 and 2008, the total carbon dioxide emissions by the Irish beef processing sector decreased by 8.6%. What is Porter's Five Forces? The Porter's Five Forces method of analysis is a tool that is used for understanding where power lies in a business situation. It was created by Michael Porter and was published in 1979 on the Harvard Business Review in an article called How Competitive Forces Shape Strategy. It explores five forces, including rivalry amongst existing competitors, threat of new entrants, bargaining power of suppliers, bargaining power of buyers, and the threat of substitute products or services. With proper use of Porter's five forces, organizations can identify both the strength of their current competitive position and the strength of a position that they are considering of moving into, which can allow them to maximize their profitability and reduce the risk of business failure. Buyer power and supplier power. Buyer power is high because consumers are price sensitive, and it's also high due to the fact that there's a lot of beef suppliers in Ireland that gives the consumer more choice, which helps consumers drive down the prices. Also, consumers have the option to buy meat substitutes such as corn, which will also drive down prices. The Irish beef industry produces too much beef for the Irish market alone. For example, in 2014, almost 70% of the total available supply of meat was exported abroad. As for the supplier power, it's moderate. There are many suppliers of beef in Ireland which limit their supplier power, as the consumer has a lot of choice while purchasing beef. There's also lots of food substitutes such as corn and tofu, which also limit the supplier power with competitive prices. Competitive rivalry. Beef production continues to be important to the Irish economy in terms of export earnings and employment. In 2015, the US ban on imports of beef from Ireland was lifted. Ireland was the first country in the EU to have this ban lifted, increasing the competitive advantage of the Irish beef industry. As for the threat of new entry, in the beef industry business environment, there is always the threat of a new entrant who could sabotage all the efforts which have been put in by the organization earlier, by giving some lucrative options to the customers as well as the suppliers. For example, the Capax meat processing had to face Brazilian protein company in the north of Ireland, and also the entry into the EU market of beef from the USA. Threat of substitute products or services. The threat of substitution for beef has rapidly increased in recent years due to reasons such as the increased popularity of vegetarians, increased health awareness, and the horse meat scandal in 2013. There is an extending variety of substitute products available for beef, with many products having a better nutritional value than beef. For example, corn, a textured vegetable protein, is high in protein, low in fat, and it can help you lower cholesterol. Meat substitutes are similar in price to beef, which is helping these products gain a market share rapidly. This has led to increased pressure to meat producers to retain their customers. McDonald's and Irish beef. McDonald's actually plays a huge role in the Irish beef industry, as they are the largest purchaser of Irish beef by volume every year. McDonald's buys beef from 180,000 Irish family farms, and they purchase an amount of 40,000 tons of beef and export it to other European markets. All suppliers of beef to McDonald's are members of the Board Baya Beef Quality Assurance. McDonald's has awarded a 300 million contract to Dawn Meats, and Dawn Meats will now invest 14.5 million euros in a new state-of-the-art beef processing plant in Carroll's Cross in Waterford. To conclude, through our research in this project, we learned a lot about the beef industry in Ireland. The beef industry is the biggest food industry in Ireland, and it's continuing to grow over the years. We rely hugely on exporting our beef to other countries to make a profit. The beef industry is also responsible for employing thousands of people in Ireland, from farmers to butchers to lorry drivers. Thank you for listening.